Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about something that every entrepreneur has faced at some point. And it's this idea of how to share what you do in a way that feels natural and engaging. So if you've ever found yourself stumbling over your words when someone asks, "So, what do you do?" then this episode is for you. We'll explore why it can feel so awkward, and I'll guide you through crafting an elevator pitch that clearly and confidently communicates your value. As always, we'll keep it practical and actionable. So let's dive in.
You are listening to That Big CEO Energy, where we talk all things business, life, marriage, and push you to a new edge of discovering what that big CEO energy means for you. Listen, I understand that we have barriers that we carry from when we were once employees, and those have impacted us as we continue to build our businesses. I'm here to walk alongside you and give you encouragement through interviews with friends and other women in business who have broken down those barriers and paved their own way. Tune in with me as we uncover some of the unconscious things that we do that keep us from building that big CEO energy we've always dreamed about. Let's dive in.
To start off, I want to share this story that is a little bit embarrassing. When I first became the CEO of Calendco and I started on this journey, and notice how I said the CEO of Calendco, I often found it challenging to explain what I do. If sometimes I still do find it challenging because I just am frazzled and get in the moment. So we're all learning together today. But here's what would happen. I would either go into too much detail, right, and lose people's interest, or I'd be too vague and they would ask, prompting me on questions to learn more. And I either A, wouldn't have any answers for them, or B, would go back to including too much detail and losing their interest. Over this course of 4 years, I've learned that having a clear and concise way to share my work not only helped me in networking situations, but also boosted my confidence into really releasing some of the fear and anxiety of, am I going to make it? And it turned into, I am actually a business owner and I'm standing on my own 2 feet. So if you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. And I'm here to kind of help us navigate this challenge. So let's begin with exploring why sharing what we do can feel super awkward. One of the things that used to happen to me when I would work for corporate is they would say, "Oh, what do you do?" And it was very easy for me to be like, "Oh, I'm the VP of operations for company." Or, "Oh, I work for X, Y, and Z company." And people associated, they knew enough of the company and what they did that when I explained my position to them, it was very easy for people to grasp, right? They understood what it is that I did and could generally create kind of a synopsis of what my skill set was. But when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you're doing all the things, right? So how do you pick what it is that you're doing? So one of the main reasons I think is this fear of judgments. When we talk about our business, we're putting ourselves out there and we're making ourselves vulnerable, that we worry about how others will perceive us, right? Whether or not they'll understand, respect what we do, and if they'll see us as successful. I oftentimes hear people say, "Oh, I just have a little side business and I just, I sell hair scrunchies." And meanwhile, they're cranking out 1,400 hair scrunchies a day. I don't know, just throwing out an example. Honey, that's not a little side business, right? That is your lifeblood. That's what I own a small business. No business is small, okay? Can we just kick that out of the way? No business is small. People don't understand how much effort it takes to run a business, no matter what it is. And I don't care if you're making 5 pennies or $500 million a year. Running a company on the amount of gusto that you need to run it on, whether it's one employee or 1,000 employees, is the same fear. This fear makes us second guess our words. The fear makes us feel anxious. And it can be really, really almost, what's a good word for it? It can be really, really daunting to have to show up in a conversation and almost justify that you own a business, that you don't just own a small business, that you own the word business, right? That you show up in the lifeblood of your business. And so oftentimes we don't share like how many wonderful things that we're actually doing for this fear of judgment of like, oh, she's just another small business out in the world. Nope, like I'm an actual business. But one of the other reasons why we don't tend to share is we kind of have a lack of clarity, right? Sometimes we're not entirely clear on how to articulate what we do in a simple and compelling way. And our business might have so many multiple facets that we are directing and we are doing, especially when we are starting out on our business, or we might struggle to distill our work into a concise explanation so that people can understand what it is exactly that we're doing. So this lack of clarity often leads to this rambling that I do, or overly complicated like descriptions that ultimately confuses our audience. Imposter syndrome also plays a significant role. Many entrepreneurs feel like they're truly not qualified or deserving of their success or their business. And this feeling makes us hesitant to talk about our achievements and capabilities, right? We might downplay what our work is or feel like we're quote unquote faking it when we share what we do. But one of the final reasons why I think we don't articulate what we do and we feel super awkward is we get overwhelmed with the details, right? As business owners, we're deeply involved into every aspect of our work, and it can be challenging to decide which details are the most important to share. And we might end up giving too much information or focusing on the wrong aspects so that they don't really understand what it is. But it can be overwhelming for both us and our listeners to try and convey what it is that we're doing. So now that we understand sort of why it can be awkward, let's try and craft an elevator pitch that might effectively communicate what it is that you do. So I'll use me for an example, but the first idea is to keep it simple and clear. So the key to a great elevator pitch is simplicity and clarity. I'm going to say that again. The key to a great elevator pitch is simplicity and clarity, right? 2 words, simple and clear. And we have to start identifying the core of what we do, right? What is the main value that you provide? What are the problems that you solve for the clients? Focus on these key points and avoid any sort of jargon or technical language, but be specific. When you are specific, it paints this clear picture in the listener's mind, right? Going back to the example of, oh, I work for X, Y, and Z company, and I am the VP of operations. People have a clear picture of what it is. And instead of saying, I run a business, say something specific like, I help small businesses streamline their operations to increase efficiency and profitability, right? You know exactly what it is. I am helping small businesses, and I say small to mid-sized businesses because that's really what it is, small to mid-sized businesses, okay? So I am looking for very specific people. And what do? I streamline their operations. Why do I streamline them? To increase efficiency and profitability, right? So I help small and mid-sized businesses streamline their operations to increase efficiency and profitability. That's what I do. It provides a clear understanding of what my work is and the value that I bring to it. But when we highlight the benefits, when we focus on the benefits that your clients receive from your services, and it could be in those 2 small words, increase efficiency, 3 small words, my bad, increase efficiency, profitability, right? Instead of just describing what it is that you do, you can get really, really clear and specific to explain how it positively impacts your clients. For example, I help businesses streamline their operations, which allows them to save time and money and focus on growing their business. See how that's a little bit different? I do like when I say increase efficiency and profitability a little bit more, less words with more impacts, but you could find your groove in whatever it is. But practice, right? Practice makes perfect. And when you write it down, so sometimes I'll put it on a sticky note, especially if I'm going to a network event and I haven't like talked about what I do in a while, I'll put a sticky note on my computer, and every now and again during my workday, I'll look over it and I'll just repeat it. But when you write it down and you practice it until it feels natural, you can refine it based on the feedback. So if you find that you are using the sentence of, I help small and mid-sized businesses streamline their operations to increase efficiency and profitability. If you're getting more questions, right, you might have to share how. Well, it allows them to save time and money and really focus on growing their business. And I run the back end of their operations so that they can do that. And we work together to scale their profits. Most people would be like, oh yeah, okay. She works on the back end of their business. That's exactly what she does. But the more you practice and the more you can come up with short, quick answers, the more confident and comfortable you become in sharing what you do. So let's put this into practice, right? With a real example. So step one, we're identifying the core of what you do. So start by identifying the core of your business. What is the main value you provide? In my case, it's helping businesses streamline their operations. Step two, be specific, right? Be specific about what you do. I help small businesses streamline their operations to increase efficiency and profitability. Now you can highlight the benefits. Step three, highlight the benefits. This allows them to save time and money and focus on growing their business. I would shorten this up sometimes to say this allows them to be the true visionary and be the actual CEO of their business. And step four is to combine and refine. When you combine these elements into a concise pitch, it can sound like, hi, I'm Callie, CEO of Calendco, and I help small businesses streamline their operations to increase efficiency and profitability. And by optimizing their processes, my clients save time and money, allowing them to focus on their business. That's it. That's what I do. That's exactly what I do in a nutshell. And so once you have your pitch, right, practice delivery until it feels natural. Try out a new networking situation. Tweak it based on responses that you get. Really step out and start putting yourself in scenarios where you have to use the words and what you do. And this goal is to communicate clearly and confidently. And when you do that, it makes it easy for others to understand and remember what you do. So just real quick, I want to look at a few examples and scenarios where you might use your elevator pitch, right? At a networking event, when someone asks, what do you do? You can confidently respond with your pitch. In an online bio, you can kind of chop that down and put it on LinkedIn or on your website, wherever it is that you do. In a casual conversation, I've been literally in the hair salon and someone random will be like, hearing me chit chat, right, about random things. And more often than not, it's me about my business, but they'll say, oh, what do you do? I'll say, oh, I run a business that helps small companies become efficient and more profitable by streamlining their operations, right? It's like that casual conversation where like, I don't want to provide too many details because I'm on my off time getting my hair done. But also like I want to be respectful and help people understand what it is that I do. But to recap, what sharing what you do as an entrepreneur doesn't have to be awkward, right? When you understand why it feels challenging, you can address kind of those underlying fears and hesitations. And crafting a clear and concise and compelling elevator pitch is a powerful way to communicate your value and really find random people. Like I had a client one time randomly at the grocery store. Like it's just, you find them in weird places. But I couldn't get that client if I didn't know how to communicate what we do, right? But the key here ultimately is to keep it simple, be specific, highlight the benefits, and practice regularly. So I encourage you to take some time and craft your own elevator pitch. And once you have it, practice it in different situations, right? Refine it based on the feedback that you get. The more you practice, the more natural and confident that you'll feel. Thanks for tuning into today's episode. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. If you want to send me an elevator pitch voice note over on Instagram, I'm happy to listen to it. And we will see you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning into the show today. If you heard something that helped you, I would love it if you would leave a review and share it with your friends. This helps more people just like you become inspired to move the needle of their big CEO energy into a positive direction. If you would like to learn more about how I can help you streamline and position your business for growth or lead your business as a CEO, feel free to jump into the show notes with all of the links to find me. And don't forget to head over to Instagram so we can be pals.